Board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with another episode of Gumbo Live, the #1 live talk show on Facebook dedicated to board gaming. Hit me up on social media tonight. I'm by myself, so if you got any questions, I'm here to answer them. You can always hit me on Twitter at BoardGameGumbo or on Facebook at facebook.com/BoardGameGumbo. Or you can always email me at boardgamegumbo@gmail.com. Some show notes before we begin. Of course, the Board Game Gumbo blog is a proud member of Punchboard Media and also our Gumbo Live. We've been focusing and doing some of those things on Punchboard Media, so you can always check up on our latest blog posts or the next time we're going live or some of our past shows. Just hit Punchboard Media either on Twitter or on the web. And on the blog side, we've got a couple of good entries coming up. The one that you might be most interested in, we're doing our annual Envie issue, our Essen Envie issue. That's where we take a look at some of the hot games that are coming out at Essen next week. We tell you 5 or 6 of the ones that we're looking for, the ones that we're most anticipating. You know, one of the cool things about Essen is that it's the major hub. The Spiel Fair is the major hub for all of the new releases. Last I checked, there's over 900 releases out there. And I heard Tom Vassell say on his podcast this morning that even when he cut out the ones that are for sale and even the ones he's already played, there were still 600 or 700 new games to be checked out. So that's a lot of games. Obviously, we can't go through all of those, but we do give you some of our favorites. And we've enlisted some help from some of the other Punchboard Media people and some of the people around the web to try to give us some ideas. Plus, we also point you to a couple of podcasts and video shows where people have been talking about theirs. In particular, Paul Grogan has a podcast up where he talked about it with a couple of buddies. And Chris Kirkman from the State of Games, he and TC and Daryl Louder did a talk where they gave their ones. And, of course, the Dice Tower published theirs today. They're doing their top 10 most anticipated Essen games. So there's a lot out there. If you want to know what's going on with Essen, there's a lot out there for you to check out. A couple other show notes. Chris Kirkman, Dice Hate Me himself, will be coming in on Thursday. He's going to be talking about their new Kickstarter, Legends of Sleepy Hollow. Hey, big first day for those guys over there. They've already got 50% funding. It's on track to do a lot, hit a lot of stretch goals. So if you're at all interested in early Americana or that crazy story, this is the sequel to Washington Irving's. We're going to talk more about it Thursday night, so I don't want to spoil too much, but it's one that I think you should take a look at. And that's going to be up on Thursday. So, yeah, tonight, special night for us here. I don't have a special guest tonight, and also Dustin and Dave were not able to check in, although they may be coming in later. But if they're able to, we'll punch them in. But I thought we'd talk about a game that I'm going to be working on this weekend. I'm part of the Envoy program. People know that from if you follow me on Twitter at all. I post a lot of pictures, post a lot of games that I demo or that I teach or that I work with companies at different conventions. And one of those games that Dustin had bought years ago, he actually bought the original, maybe even the Kickstarter edition, was Asking for Trobils. And it's now part of Breaking Games. It started with Kraken Games. The designer, Chris Strain from Houston, and his girlfriend designed it. Erin McDonald, I think is her name. Erin McDonald. Look, there it is up on the board. Chris and Erin designed a wonderful little kind of an intro to worker placement game where it plays 2 to 7 players in about an hour and scales well up and down. Dustin had the game, played it, and then Breaking Games picked it up, and they're part of the Envoy program. And so the splash is coming up this weekend. So I'm excited. This is actually going to be my first splash. I've worked for 3 or 4 different companies, Stronghold, Indie Boards and Cards, and had a fantastic time this summer at Fireside Games. But I've never done a splash before. Usually on the weekends I'm doing stuff with the family or with the kids, but this is one of those rare Sundays where I didn't have anything, and it's a game I was really interested in. So I talked to my friend Andy Lee over at Books 2. He's the community board game organizer for Books 2, one of our local shops here in Lafayette. And so on Sunday from noon to 5 Central, I'm going to be doing a splash, doing demos, talking about the game, and maybe even Andy and I are going to try to set up an actual play through the game live here on on Gumbo Live. So that'd be kind of a cool special episode of Gumbo Live Sunday if we can pull it off. Look, we love the software that we've been using, but taking it out on the road is going to be something different than doing it right here in the studio. So, and before I go any further, I do want to wish my buddy, the name father, Steve O'Rourke from the Dukes of Dice. It's his 29th birthday today. Not actually, but close enough. It is his birthday today. Steve's a big fan of the program. He loves to come in. I'm sure he's out celebrating with his family, so he probably won't be joining in with his usual questions. But I do, I enjoy our talks and our Facebook chats. And so, Steve, I just want to wish you a happy birthday. And you are a worthy competitor, probably the best. That's why he's called the Name Father, the best namer out there for those Dukes of Dice episodes. So cheers to you, Steve. All right, so back to what we were talking about, asking for Trobils. Hey, if you haven't seen it, I had a great interview with Chris Strain a few weeks ago now, I guess. And I'm going to punch it up while I'm looking here. I had a great interview with Chris Strain. Chris was actually running a little late in that broadcast, and I noticed he was a little, I talked to him before, and he was pretty peppy and fun to talk to. And then during the thing, he was a little bit quiet. I found out that this guy's a trooper. His father had passed away. They had been preparing for the funeral all week, and he was writing kind of the eulogy or memorial, and still didn't tell me anything, and still went through with Gumbo Live that night. So if he does look a little subdued that night, he has a good reason. It's not just the fact that I'm his interviewer talking him down, but check that out. It's Gumbo Live with Chris Strain. It was September 12th, 2017. It's up on our uploads on our channel on YouTube. Just YouTube Gumbo Live with Chris Strain, and you should pop it up. It's also Eric from Punchboard Media was nice enough to put it up on the Punchboard Media site. So if you get a chance, you can check that out there. Give it a look. Chris is an interesting fellow with a diverse. He's an omni gamer. We talked a lot about games. We talked about designs. Just an interesting fellow. I think you'll enjoy the conversation. So check that out. But I wanted to show you the actual game. So to kind of entice you to get out there, Envoy and Breaking Games is doing a huge push this weekend to try to get people more interested in asking for Trobils. If you like worker placement games, and if you like something family weight, something that you could play with your family, yet still have fun with your gamers, well, asking for Trobils just might be what you're looking for. And if you notice, it's got its Dice Tower seal of excellence there. Tom Vassell loved it. So, and if you don't like Tom Vassell's choice in games, then just forget I said that. But I wanted to show you what's inside of it and kind of give you a preview so that we can start talking about it on Sunday. So Saturday, Bradley is going to be doing this for people, of course, in the Acadiana area. But if you're in the Acadiana area and you're watching the show, Saturday, Bradley's going to be doing it from Sword and Board on Johnson Street. And he'll be doing that Saturday afternoon. He'll have a copy of the game. And I'll have my copy of the game on Sunday with Andy Lee at Ann Books 2, also on Johnson Street. But we're not the only ones. There's over 100 heralds all over the country that are going to be demoing this very game, teaching people how to play. And, of course, there should be copies on hand in the store, or you can order it. But this is a fantastic game, and I wanted to show it to you. First off, the board. Unlike most boards, similar to Fate of the Elder Gods, I guess, it's got this cool round board with all of the different placements. So the worker placement part is going to come with picking the different parts of this area. As you can see, there's a lot of orange in it. So I talked to Chris about that, and Chris wanted to design a game that was completely orange. And I don't remember it because I never played Dustin's copy, but apparently the earlier editions were really orange. Now they're more kind of Florida colors. You got blue and orange and kind of the gator colors. But as you can see here, there's a lot of orange there. Orange and blue are the dominant colors. So he really pulled that off. I mean, look over here. That's a lot of orange. So each one of these spaces, some of them are pretty basic spaces where you put your spaceship on there and you're going to get stuff back. And some of them have a kind of a trading mechanism, or they pull cards. So let me show you the rest of this. And here's something else. I give kudos to whoever did this with Breaking Games or with Kraken Games. Kraken being the company that Chris founded, and of course Breaking Games, the one that has the current contract for the license for the game. But they've got a great rule book. It's really easy to understand, nice and colorful, gives lots of examples. It's got some humor in there too, which is always fun. Explains all the different locations. Shows you the ending. But look at this thing in the back. So I learned the game right away when I got it. And then when I pulled it out last night, I was like, oh, I got to remember how to not only how to play the game, but remember how to teach the game, because that's two different things. There is an art to teaching games. I remember at Gen Con, I was doing Kaiju Crush, and man, by the end of the 4 days, I was knocking it out in just a minute or two, really getting people on the table within 30 seconds with their hands on the pieces and starting to play and teaching the rules as we needed them. So I always appreciate when a company does this. And I think I can get a good shot of that right here. Look at that. How to teach Trobils. So on the back side of the instruction book, they give you a full page thing about what to say during the setup, all the things you need to do for the to start, and then what to say during the setup, and how to explain the theme, and of course, most importantly, within the first couple of paragraphs, how to win the game. So many people don't say it's a competitive game, and this is how you win. And that's what players, they want to know the theme, obviously. That's the most important thing to me. But for most people, what to do to win is what they need to think about it. And this isn't one of those complicated games where you can't bring it out right away. So within the first 4 paragraphs, they're telling you what to do to win. Then they talk about the turns, they talk about the locations, and they even tell you in order how to explain the workings of each location, starting with the simplest ones all the way down to the toughest ones. There's a couple of quirky rules in here. One of them is bumping, and they give you a little explanation, especially in terms of 2 players. And then, of course, how the game ends, because that's what everybody wants to know. And to do that, hey, look, there's Steve checking in. Steve, you missed it, but I actually told you happy birthday tonight, man. So happy birthday. Congratulations on your 29th birthday. And that is clever to include a lesson plan. As Steve said, there's a lesson plan on how to teach the game. I wish every company did this just on the back of the rule book. So fantastic. But there's more. There's more. So when you're looking at your different player pieces, these are all the different pieces here, and they'll come out all with different spaceships. And of course, these different spaceships match with the cool plastic pieces that come with it. Well, of course, name father, man. Gotta let the people know that you're 29 today. Yeah, so look at these. Now, I don't have the Kickstarter edition. I've got the Breaking Games edition, which is gorgeous. I don't know what the other edition was like, but this thing is phenomenal. These are big, solid, chunky plastic pieces. Let me see if I can show you that with the camera. I mean, these are really cool little pieces. They all match the different symbols that you have on your player parts. So you'll have this, and of course, matching ships that go with it. Look at that. I mean, you just can't beat that. So you get all these big plastic pieces. And then, of course, you got the gems, too, which you'll see on the bottom. Those represent 2 of the resources that are going to come out as you go around the board. Lots and lots of cardboard in this thing. So you have the gem pieces, which are resources. You also have the traps and slugs, which are resources. Kind of hard to see there. Nope, there we go. See the slugs there. Nope, that's the traps. Sorry, pulled out the wrong ones. Slugs. You've got the carrots. Little space carrots. I mean, what planet doesn't have a space carrot, right? You've got the credits. Okay, now here's anybody that follows the Lanyap, anybody that knows me or any of my broadcasts know I like the metal money. So yeah, cardboard credits. Yeah. But it's not like all of us don't have metal money stored up somewhere. So what I may do is, when I'm playing the game, I may grab that scythe money, or I keep an eye at it. Every time I go to Gen Con, I eye that space money. Man, I always say, oh, what can I use that for? Now I've got the game to use space money. So I may have to take a look at that. Some more of the units. And then, so one of the interesting things about this game is they have these one-time use powers, and they're represented by all of these different little aliens. The aliens are little stand-up characters. They have little standees for them right here. and you put the standees on there. And if you draw that card, these are the different cards. Look at the graphics on here. You can tell Chris and Aaron are big into graphic design because they really took some time in putting the stuff in here. Oh, that's upside down. They've got cards with all the different little aliens. Most of these help you or hurt the other players. And as these come out, you'll actually take the standee that represents it and put it on your area or on somebody else's area. It just depends on what kind of card it is. And of course, most of them are pretty funny. If you look at it, they've got some nice little flavor text that makes it funny. So, but the rules for the different cards are right there on the card, so it's very easy to teach that part. And then, of course, the winning conditions of scoring points, and that is these cards. These are a little plain. Yeah, I could have used something a little bit stronger, but they do fit the theme of the game. There's lots of orange, and the symbols are so easy that what you lose maybe in that graphical popping, you get in the ease of explanation, because it's pretty hard not to look at this and say, okay, I need one of these things, 3 of these, 2 of the slugs, 2 of the carrots, to figure out how to win that card. So as you can see, this is a first-rate production. I'm very impressed with the production that Breaking Games put together. And I am really excited to be able to teach this game. So I will be practicing this up tomorrow night at Gumbo night, and then again on Friday night to get ready for Sunday. It's important to just practice your games and practice your speech, your spiel that you're going to give before you do the big teach. But that is Asking for Troubles. If you got any questions out there about Asking for Troubles, if just hit me up on Twitter this week. Also, check out your local game store. They're probably going to have an event for Asking for Troubles, and if they don't, ask them, talk to the management and see if you can get that going, because the Envoy program is here to help show people these new games and try to get the word out whenever we've got something going on there. So that is Asking for Troubles. All right, next up on the show, we're going to talk real quick about Essen. I don't want to give away too much on the blog, but there's a couple of games that I do want to talk about. And of course, I'm interested in what games you're looking at. Post in the comments below or right here on Facebook if you have something, and I'll be happy to answer you. Some of the games I'm looking at, first up on my list, and this is going to be one in the blog. It's one that just harkens back to my time as on the old IBM 88 that I had, Roller Coaster Tycoon, and it's called Coaster Park. It's the brand new game from Scott Alms. It's published by Panasaurus Games. It's going to be available for purchase in Essen. According to the box, it's going to play 2 to 4 players in about 30 minutes. It's designed by Scott Alms, as I said, who is designer of the Tiny Epic series. People know Scott Alms. He's got a good track record for games. Look, the graphics are by Kwanchai Moriya. They look super cool. This game really looks like they put it together. I think it's been in development for almost 2 years, from what I've heard. I mean, if you've had Roller Coaster Tycoon on your old Windows machine or your old Apple, you probably love the game as much as I did, and you've been looking for that experience that would bring that to the tabletop. Well, this looks about as close as, way back when Steam Park was announced at, what was it, Essen 3 years ago. I remember the first thing I said, Steam Park, that sounds like a Roller Coaster Tycoon game about robots? That's all I need to know. Let me try it out. It's not exactly Roller Coaster Tycoon, although it does give you the flavor of being able to build out a park and you're trying to manage the resources, but it's not exactly that. I mean, there's nothing really physical going on. Coaster Park seems to have that. It's got the marbles. It's got the 3D coasters that you're going to be building out. You've got to worry about gravity and physics and trying to make sure the marble completes its cycle. So when you look at awesome art from Kwanchai Moriya, who did Flip Ships, Take the Bait, Kodama, all those games, when you got the Tiny Epic series designer, so he's got a track record of bringing ideas, that are sustainable and viable, and you put those two together with the awesome theme of building out your own roller coaster park. I don't know. This to me has got to be the talk of Essen. I'm sure it's going to be one of the first games people are going to run to. I can tell you at Gen Con, it was a game everybody was talking about, but nobody could play. So I wish I could have gotten a chance to play it. Unfortunately, I didn't, but and I'm not going to be there at Essen maybe next year, but I'm looking forward to it. If you go to the blog this week, I will have a little write-up about it, but not only that, I've got a link to BGG's preview video, and if you haven't seen that, you got to check that out. I mean, they actually, Eric Martin does an interview, I think, with maybe Nathan from Panasaurus, where they actually go through, the development of the game and the physics, and it looks really cool. So that is a game I'm looking for. So Steve says one that he's hoping to look for and get some attention is Bali. Now, Steve, you got me there. That one is not one I know. It's a reprint of Rapa Nui, a hard game to lay your hands on. So a new version with new art and theme is exciting for me. You know what? Let's go check that out right now. I'm going to copy that link, and thank you for that link there, Steve. Let's see what we got. I don't know anything about Bali. That's not a game I'm familiar with. Let's see. Bali, it's 2 to 4 players. Says 2017. Klaus-Jürgen Ried and Dennis Lohausen is the artist. So that's a guy, everybody knows that one. White Goblin Games, they put out a lot of good games over the years. Klaus-Jürgen, well, of course, Carcassonne, yeah. Downfall of Pompeii. Hey, that's a game I've heard Alex Goldsmith talk about a million times. Interesting. Mesopotamia, that's another game I'd like to play. Yeah, so, man, Klaus, that's an interesting game there, Steve. I don't know a lot about it, but I'm looking at the art. Well, Dennis Lohausen, he's got so many good games out there with the art. Very, very interesting. The inhabitants of Bali regard their island as a world of gods and demons. The people sacrifice their harvest to appease the gods and the spirits of their ancestors. Farmers collect goods on the fields. When a shrine is built, these goods can be sacrificed. Priests help with these sacrifices and also chase away demons. The game system is refined and novel. Take one card from the general display and reveal the card lying underneath, which could be disastrous for all. Only those who make the right decisions will please the gods. Interesting. No, I did not know that one's coming out at Essen. I'm going to have to do some more checking on that. Thank you for hitting that up, Steve. I did not know that one. Looks like it's 45-minute playing time. No weight scale yet. I guess there haven't been enough people that have checked in on it. Not enough ratings. But let's see if we can go to the older game. Let's see if we can. No, Steve, do you know if it's just a straight reprint, or is this going to be? Looking to see if there's going to be anything else about that. It says it's a reprint, but there's no link to it. I don't like when they do that. Sometimes they don't put. Let's see, Rapa Nui, 2011. Is that the right one? Yep. Klaus-Jürgen Ried, published by Cosmos. It's got a 6.9 on the rating scale, 2.06, so a good medium weight or light to medium game. Recommended for the Spiel des Jahres in 2012. Lots of people want the game, but it looks like it's been out of stock for a while. Interesting. I like the fact that a lot of people have reviewed it. So even though Bali is a new edition of it, at least we're going to be able to see how the gameplay works, assuming they haven't changed a lot. So that is something to check out. Yeah, I'm on BGG right now. So if you want to know more about it, check out Rapa Nui straight and then re-implemented, of course, with Bali. Well, it looks like it's gotten some good reviews and some good ratings. So thank you, Steve, for that one. That's going to be I tell you what, I like the art a lot better with this new edition, at least from the images I've seen. Interesting art there. White Goblin Games. All right. So that is Bali. That's a good one to take a look at. Thank you, Steve, on that one. All right. So the rest of the games from Essen Envy, you'll have to just check out the blog. I know I've got a couple of games on there. Look, I know Brandon Kempf from Punchboard Media and of course the What Did You Play This Week podcast. He also included a game that he had actually done his 5 most anticipated games as a blog post, and there was one later on that he really wanted to play. And I'll just give you a hint, Steve. It's from the same family as what you're talking about, so that would be an interesting one to check out from Brandon. So if you get a chance, that will be posting. I'm just waiting on 1 or 2 more other contributors, and then I can hopefully get that posted Wednesday or Thursday. So that's going to be somewhere between 5 to 10 of our most anticipated games with a little bit of talk about what they are. All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight, unless anybody else has any other questions. Just some reminders. On the blog side, we got the Essen Envy coming up this week. On Thursday, we've got Chris Kirkman, Dice Hate Me himself, that will be coming in to talk Legends of Sleepy Hollow. This weekend, we're going to be doing the splash for Asking for Trobils, Chris Strain, and Breaking Games. All over the country, that's going to be happening, but here in Louisiana, we've got at least 2 that you can go to in the Lafayette area. One on Saturday with Bradley and one on Sunday with me at Ann Books 2 on Johnson Street. And if we've got a good connection, we'll actually do a live playthrough with my buddy Andy Lee, who's the community games organizer for Ann Books 2. And we'll be doing that on Sunday from 12 to 5, sometime during that time. Just keep an eye out for it. Like I said, we've got... can't wait to show everybody that. Let me pull that up right now. Asking for Trouble's coming up on Sunday. Legend of Sleepy Hollow coming up with the talk this coming Thursday in a couple of days. So we've got a busy week here on Gumbo Live. Looking forward to you joining that. Well, I'm BJ from Board Game Gumbo. Another episode of Gumbo Live in the books. I want to thank everybody for participating. Check the blog, www.boardgamegumbo.com, or just check us out on Punchboard Media. And until next time, or hit me up on Twitter at any time, @BoardGameGumbo. And until next time, laissez le bon temps rouler.